Okay, so it's titled Teaching Mathematics with Constructivist Theory. I wanted to present Constructivism because it's a really important philosophy in teaching, in education in general. The main idea in Constructivism is that it's creating knowledge. It's not knowledge that is passed. It's not knowledge that the student is passive, receiving and regurgitating later. It's knowledge that he creates for himself. So as such, the student has to be central. He has to be in the middle of the learning experience. And to do that, we have to change our teaching method. Instead of teaching orally by addressing the class, we instead do a bunch of activities. We do problem solving. Now these activities have to be new. They have to be situations that the student hasn't seen before. Otherwise, it's not really going to be valuable. Because to actually create something new inside your brain, you have to be confronted with something that you haven't seen before. And there's this interesting idea called the didactic contract that is basically the toolbox that you have in your brain of all the mathematical notions that you have. And basically what the brain does is that it doesn't really want to figure out another way of thinking about it. So through these different situations, you have to force them into realizing that they have insufficient tools. And as such, the didactical contract is in effect only when it's broken. And that's when the student realizes, oh, I don't have all the information. I need to find another way of doing something. Now, of course, these activities can work as a team or as individuals. When they're team-based, it's a different philosophy. It's very close. It's socio-constructivism. And there's a school in Quebec that does that already. They've done it for a number of years. And it's very different from constructivism in that the students always work as a team, whereas in constructivism, you can pretty much do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter that much. Now, of course, in these activities, there's always going to be students who go faster, students who go slower. And what we use as teachers is called scaffolding. It's basically if a team or a student has trouble finding the different solutions, well, you point them in the general direction. Obviously, you don't want to actually give them the solution. You want to just slowly nudge them in the right direction. Next is generalizing. Now, after you've figured it out, you figured out the algorithm or the formula that you were trying that you needed to solve the problem, you need to generalize it and see if it can be applied to a multitude of other problems. Once you've done that, and you've figured out that it's a pretty good tool, that's when you have to justify your learnings. You have to make sure that you understand the path that you took to creating this new tool. Only by doing that can you actually make sure that you have learned something. We see it often in secondary schools, just blindly applying formulas. It's the way that a lot of people go through their secondary school in math. And that's what constructivism tries to stop. So I'm going to talk about that. I don't have a research project.